way.
Those will be there every time.
Yeah. But still, you never know.
Right.
Yeah, we don't really, we're gone July.
Yeah, they don't get much.
So we don't really do much for the August agenda, and of course, we don't have a work session because we have an all-day retreat.
Yeah.
Which is gigantic, so.
Yeah.
I went to work for a couple hours.
Yeah.
It's about like 200 multinational stuff that I needed and then left it in my office.
Oh, no.
You did what?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I know.
You mean you left it?
I left it in Newport. Like,
Oh,
it's
maybe you could
like-
run back before you go home.
Somewhere hour or two, but I'll go down again next week and pick that. I have to go finish and move the offices.
You're moving offices? What's happening?
Oh, well, we just kind of did a reshuffle. We're moving from the Lincoln City as permanent faculty, in Lincoln City campus.
I heard that from Dave Price yesterday, on my podcast.
And I am just adding a student in the office I like better than the one I was in.
Oh,
So I called dibs on it and I'm moving to that one. So it's a little bit
In
bigger.
Newport?
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm literally not.
Oh,
Like,
cause I was gonna say,
like
you
this.
live in Lincoln City, I'd rather have an office in Lincoln City.
Yeah, but I'm also the technical coordinator and that kind of makes me like deputy director basically. As
That's
far as
right.
the board goes, so I have
That's
to
right.
have my main office in the main campus.
You could never be at Lincoln City, cause you need to be more centrally located.
I can do some stuff that
Mm.
it's not to be, yeah.
Before our meeting starts, just reminding folks that we had a brand new podcast come out yesterday on the Compass Connection. It's our 9th podcast and it's about the Compass Online School. So with principal degree. Lots of fun, about 20 minutes. Ah, really good. 6:30.
So at this time, we will call this meeting to order. And I would like to ask a member of the board to read the school district land development statement. Thank you, Mike.
Land acknowledgement statement. We ask that you take a moment to stop what you are doing, to listen to these words as we recognize the land that we currently inhabit. No matter where each of us is physically located in Lincoln County, we must understand that we are on traditional homelands and unceded territories of indigenous peoples. Where we live in Lincoln County, these are the ancestral homelands for the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians. Lincoln County School District acknowledges the Confederated Tribes of the Siletz Indians that consists of over 30 bands originating from Northern California to Southern Washington. The Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians currently occupy and manage 9,310 acres located here in Lincoln County, it is a mere fraction of the original 1855 1.1 million acre Siletz Coastal Reservation. We must remember the people of the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians are and will forever be the first stewards of this land, water, and fish. We acknowledge and recognize the continued sovereignty of the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians and honor their ancestral homelands. We are committed to bringing awareness to their history and the existence of the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians since time immemorial.
Thanks, Mike. So now we're going to establish a quorum. I'll call the roll. Megan Collet,
Present.
Mike Rawls,
Present.
Centilla McKinney,
Present.
and Chair Martin is excused from this meeting tonight. On the introductions, Dr. Gray, do you have any special introductions for tonight?
None this evening.
Okay, and we have no written communications and do we have any blue cards?
We do not.
No blue cards and no recognition. We have a representative from the LCEA here tonight.
Do not see anyone.
Okay, we're going right through this. So we'll go on to consultant reports, staff reports, and we'll start with Kim on the financial report.
Okay, you have two sets of reports in front of you, and I'm going to start with the ones with the yellow band on the top. So this is an update from last fiscal year. Fiscal year ended June 30th, but we continue to pay bills for last fiscal year's activities through August and sometimes even into September. We will also be doing some additional journal entries to record different expenditures and receivables, that kind of thing, in order to prepare for our audit in October. So I'm just giving you an update where we're at as of August 5th. I want to point out our anticipated ending fund balance, 16.2 million. It's a little higher than we had budgeted, as you'll see in our next report. The number right above that is a negative $806,779. That's the amount that I'm anticipating we'll need to pay back to ODE because we got more local revenue than we had estimated to the state. And so they essentially overpaid us state school funds, the local revenue, remember, and the state revenue balance each other. So if we get more local revenue, we have to pay back some of the state revenue that we've gotten. So we'll put that on the books. We'll keep the cash set aside so that when that adjustment comes on next May's reconciliation, then that money will be there to cover that. We do. Yeah,
Many years
it just
at
sits,
one time.
sits in its own account. Okay. So that's it for that. On the monthly comparison. I want to point out the sale of the assets and insurance proceeds about the middle of the page, $115,000 there. That was, we received $109,000 from the insurance company to cover our costs for the Crestview Heights sprinkler pump that caught on fire and needs to be replaced. And then we also received $6,887 to replace some pole vaulting mats at Newport High that were damaged in a windstorm.
Is that going to cover the cost of the replacement of the pumps?
That was the estimate, and if the cost ends up being more, we'll just send them those invoices.
Great,
Yeah, it's gonna be covered.
great, fantastic.
And then down under expenditures, you'll notice we transferred $350,000 to the building maintenance fund as requested. On the flip side, we've got purchase services. I have several notes this month. I removed the earlier month's notes because I was just running out of room at the bottom. So you can see those notes on previous reports if you need to reference them. The custodial note M is our monthly custodial of $154,000 minus $77,250 that food services is covering of our custodial costs. And we just do we budget that every year for them to cover it, and we just do a journal entry at year end. And the next note down is for transportation, and that is our May and June invoices, plus additional field trips and athletics that are normal for this time of year. So it's roughly $400,000 a month. It's a little more than the prior months, but that's normal this time of year. O is, let's see, telephone. There's some timing differences there. That month included April, May, and June. We've had a few instances where the credit card company is extra vigilant and denies. We use a Visa to pay our utilities, and sometimes the card company denies it. And so sometimes the bill gets paid a month later, or it shows up on our Visa card a month later. So that's why that's a little higher that month. You can see the month before was only 3,000. P is tuition payments. That is the May and June invoice for the placement at the Latham Center. And then Q is our legal services for that same student. Next report, page 4 is our special revenue funds. You can see The ones with the 3 asterisks, those are reimbursement basis grants. Those are all, most of them are all in the positive now, because we've either received the revenue or we've recorded the revenue with a receivable as we're starting to close out the year. High school success is in the negative slightly. We just have claims that need to come in or an entry that needs to be done. Same with outdoor school, which is on the flip side. Fund 296 right in the middle of that first column. We only get one payment on that. We have to wait until June to invoice them. So we haven't received that payment yet. So any questions so far? I know I'm going to go through this quickly. On the bills and claims, you'll see this is a nice long list. That's because this is all of June, everything we've paid in July and through August 5th. A lot of professional development, grant reimbursements. The charter schools are invoicing us for their grants that are passed through us. See outdoor school charges on here. There's architectural services for the Taft High School forestry building and the same case field. Our budget software, staff Chromebooks, just a variety of charges. The onward and Swanee, 23,000 right on 6/17. That is a partial payment on the temporary pump rental. And so the insurance money is paying for that. We have some special ed legal fees that we mentioned. That's some construction costs. And we paid for our school resource officer with the sheriff's department as well. You'll get reimbursed by ESD for that. So that's just an update where we're at for year end last year. And then we'll do audit in October and we'll present financial report to you in December. Several months to get closed out. So the next packet is this year. And these are July's transactions through July 31st. The white column for July is actual and all the gray columns are the projected for the rest of the year. The anticipated ending fund balance right now is 8.2 million. And that consists of the unappropriated ending fund balance, the 7% requirement, and the contingency. Because we have to have a balanced budget, all of the funds are budgeted. And you'll notice, let's see, let me find it. Under expenditures, the third one up from the bottom under expenditures, there's interfund transfers. In August, about 1.65 million scheduled for transfer because I'm going to be asking you tonight for a transfer, that initial one for facilities and maintenance. And then we won't do the rest until November or December. I put it in December as probably the latest date, as we want to make sure what our ending fund balance is from prior year. So we'll have audit finished by then and we'll know exactly how much we have available to transfer at that point. On the monthly comparison, page 2. Remember, the projected column is a 6-year average. And we had COVID in between there. So it's a ballpark figure, but it is just an estimate. The beginning fund balance, again, it's unaudited. It's subject to change. We've got a lot of entries to do still. We still have some bills to pay. Amazon bills us every 50 days. So we haven't paid some of our older charges for Amazon. But right now it's sitting at 952,000 more than we budgeted. And then under expenditures, the purchase services are up this month, but that is partially due to the insurance being a little more, and that's because we purchased cyber insurance where we haven't in the past. And remember that
Right.
insurance figure is a 6-year average. So when we did purchase it, it was later in the year. And then the other big piece of that is purchase services, and 273,400 of that is the sped legal fees. On purchase services, the only thing I want to mention there is well, two things. The charter school payments, it's 846,000. The state gives us a double payment in July, and so we pass through a double payment onto the charter schools. That's so they are front loading us funds so that we have money to start school in the fall, because our property taxes don't come in until November, and then we don't get a payment in May. And so that represents a double payment. And then you can see the special ed legal fees there. Special revenue funds, we've entered beginning fund balances based on where we're at as of August 5th from the prior year. So those are unaudited balances, so that could easily change. And you can see we're starting to have negatives again in some of the grants, like the preschool promise grant, student investment account. That's because we're spending, it's reimbursement. We'll ask for the money in a month or so. Building maintenance fund has got $180,000 fund balance right now, but you can see there's 1.13 million encumbered for Rich's projects that he's got going over the summer while the kids aren't in the buildings. And so that's why we're asking for that transfer of funds right now, because we need to have the funds available before we spend them. And that transfer is budgeted under fund transfers / asset sales up above that 2.4 million. 1.65 of that is transfer. Let's see. I forgot to mention, in June, we did pay our PERS bond and our general obligation bond payments. So the balances that you see there are just building for future payments. That one. And bills and claims is a lot shorter. This is just new year expenditures. Over 10,000. You can see our property and liability insurance was 669,000, and then down a little bit further, there's Brown and Brown Northwest. That's our agency fee to them, about 35,000. And then the excess cyber insurance, it was 31,000. So that's all in that line. And then on the investment report, our ending balances in those accounts are lower this time of year, when they'll climb as we get our tax revenues in November. But right now, they'll just continue to decline. But our interest rates are going up. And I just got notice again today that they're going up again. Actually, I didn't look at that. I just saw they're going up again. Right now, for July, LGIP was at 1.25%, and Oregon Coast Bank slightly higher. Not a lot, but it's going up. So,
It did help.
yep. Do you have any questions? I know that's a lot.
Thanks, Paul. So the first student written report can be found in the board folder if you guys want to take a look at that. We have a representative.
We certainly do.
Come on in.
Come on up,
Right
Doc.
here.
Starting then, right?
That's the one with the orange vest.
Our local man.
The one with the vest.
Got it here?
Good evening. Do you have any questions on the report that is, that you have in your packet?
Is your shortage, you're starting the year about where you left off?
We're hoping to actually have more drivers starting this school year. Just in the last 3 weeks, we had about 20 applications come in.
Really?
Yeah, we had a lot of, you're starting to need money, I guess. So we had, like I said, about 20 applications come in and, well, some of them flaked out during the background checking process and drug test process. But we do have 5 candidates now in training. And we have actually 3 drivers who are fully credentialed come to us, and we have 2 drivers who left us last year but want to return. So we're reeling them in. We're reeling them in as we can. And I believe that our recruiters who have really pounded the street this summer and represented us with our inflatable and wiggly men out there just got the attention of the people and sold our job, sold our responsibility to the community, and is getting
Your social media
Yeah.
presence
Is-
is super strong right now, which is great.
yeah,
And you see a big bus hiding around the corner everywhere, so.
that's good. Yep.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of buses on the roads right
We have, we are running 9 routes right now, countywide, so. And next week, we have summer school, so we have a few more routes running, and then we have band camp transportation the following week, so we'll be out there rolling. Yeah,
For high school from all areas of the district of Seven City.
yeah, so my hopes are high that we will have equal, if not more, drivers to start the school year, which is a good thing. That
Yeah.
keeps the people who need to stay in the office, and then we can actually run the business a little bit more smoother and focus on getting more people in. What I wanted to share is that Eddie had reached out to me in regards to what we can put on the buses
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
for celebrating the 100th anniversary.
Yes.
I reached out to Craig at ODE, Craig Pruitt, and he gave me a quick rundown as to what we can do, which is not very much.
Okay.
Basically is contractors insignia or team names or celebration decals can be placed above the side windows on the front portion of the bus body. So basically above the windows on top, towards the front.
Oh, nice.
So with our buses, we have on the ones with the noses, we have 3 inches about visible. And on the transits, the flat noses, and our small buses, we have about 6 inches available. So that's
Great. Take it.
about what we have. We can also use the front windows, the very first windows next to the door and behind the driver. And we can also put decals on the window itself, which is an area of 12 by 24 inches.
Oh, that's pretty exciting.
So, yeah.
We'll
And-
bring that back to
and-
the superintendent committee.
Right, and I've played around a little bit with what we could do. If you, I can share that with you, or I can share it now if you want, if you want to take a look at it. It's just something I played around with because I had time. And I don't know what you had planned already, but this is just taken quickly off of what you have, very basic.
streamlined, plain.
But it's not all coding, so it's not. Well, we have a centennial logo,
Okay,
so we're gonna want to stick to the centennial.
That's
logo.
fine.
We have a
Yeah.
round logo like this.
very
And then
nice.
we have a more elaborate logo with waves, which it's gonna be seen more of. But I appreciate the thought.
So, yeah, so that gives you an idea as to what we can work with size wise. So the round one, I can see actually in the window, and the more elaborate one possibly on the top above the
Talking about the
windows.
one- The one with the 100.
That would have to be ours, you know, we have.
Right,
This is wonderful, and I just want
Oh.
to say kudos to you, because you didn't know that we have a logo.
no, I didn't.
But it
no.
looks very much like your,
Mhm.
You're talking about this one here.
the round one
Yeah.
looks very similar
With
to
the
the
words
one that
around.
was adopted by the Centennial
Nice.
City.
That's
Very, very similar. And then the wavy one,
Yeah,
is different,
Mm-hmm.
and, Eddie and Kristen Bigler are really the ones that are working on all of this. So, my idea was I would like to put up something magnetic on the buses, because magnetic signs work really well on vehicles.
yeah,
You can put them on and take them off, and they don't hurt the paint, they don't.
right.
They can be quite vibrant and beautiful. So we're gonna have a chat about that, what kind of material to do, but I love the idea of above the windows, and I love the idea. I mean, on the windows and then above the front,
Mhm.
and we have 3 inches and 6 inches to deal
Yeah.
with. It's all marvelous to us, you know, it's we're happy for anything.
Right, so we would need to have a sample that we would need to show
Mhm.
ODE so that they can approve it and,
Easy.
Perfect.
awesome.
I was just impressed to have a green light. I thought it would be really regulated, like no go at all, so I'm super happy to hear that we do some.
Yeah, it stems from a ruling back in 2001. It's, there was a precedent, a case where I guess a district wanted to have their logo on the bus and they won. So since then, we are allowed to put something right there in the front end of the bus above the windows.
It's for a
So,
year.
Yeah,
Centennials are only good for a year, so we're just happy to partner with you, and I'm delighted to hear the additional drivers. Keeping in mind that for me, it's the north area that is the most important to try to get back to something if you
Yeah.
can. We've had this conversation, so I know you know that,
Yeah.
Darlene. Is to try to get back to something rather than those compressed routes.
Yeah.
Because that seemed to be really important to our principals.
yeah, absolutely. And
appreciate
actually, I
it.
believe two of the fully credentialed drivers
Oh,
are in the north, so,
couldn't have
Yeah.
been better if you tried.
right?
What is the wage now? Is it $18?
It's $19 for CDL holders and starting wage and $17.50 for van.
I
Yeah.
was so confusing myself.
And that's a starting wage.
That's the starting wage, yes.
What's your top end?
We are at $21.50.
Well, certainly, when you advertise $18.50 and $19, it's a lot better than 16. So
Yes.
I'm really glad that we were able to make it more reasonable, considering the environment for hiring that we're in right now,
Yeah,
you know. It's more
I
than
know we're all struggling to find people.
All of us.
Yeah.
Struggle.
Yeah.
Anything else for first student?
Right.
Right.
On to,
Thank
thanks,
you so
Darrell.
much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Go on to board reports. Does any board member have anything they'd like to report on?
Everyone's resting.
Yeah, well, I'll share one personal thing. My granddaughter, for first grade, she was so cute on the first day. She's in Indianapolis and she goes to a public Montessori school and they have to wear uniforms. But they're little variable. She was so cute. I was so excited to see her.
How well.
Yeah. So, Dr. Gray,
Yes,
We're ready for your
so,
report.
yes, I actually have two items, but one of them I'll just add on. So on August 18th, which is now around the corner, used to be so far away. We will have our retreat at the Best Western from roughly 9 to 3. But we would like to know that we can stay longer if we want to, because we have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to pass out what I believe is the final board agenda. Sure, it says 9 to 4 on there. Eddie, and this was sent also to Liz already. It's front and back. And I reviewed this with Liz, and I think I reviewed this also with Peter. But I would like to review this agenda with you and see if there are any last minute changes that you would like to make. Of course, breakfast and lunch and a snack will be provided to you. We'll have a welcome and land acknowledgement and board check-in first. Liz wanted to make sure that we do a board check-in.
I think that's really
To see how you guys, we would have done that anyway, but I'm glad that she showcased that. You'll also notice by item that in parentheses, it has whether there is a handout or not. And we will be creating a board notebook for this event so that you have a document that you can go back to later throughout the year. We will review the Lincoln County School District Equity Lens first draft. And we will review that and discuss next steps. That was created by the equity team. And I think it's fantastic and a great first go at an equity lens. We're going to review the board and superintendent communication agreements, any changes that we have. And then review the board strategic plan, which we will have in a handout for you. We're going to update the timelines on the strategic plan, which have not been updated in the last 3 years. We switched up number 5 with number 1, and we have reprinted those, and that's how the document reads. We'd like to have a discussion regarding changing foundation development to the development of a political action committee in preparation for a bond, which will be coming up in the next 2 years. We'd like to review the Lincoln County School District organizational chart. That was something that Chair Martin wanted to do with the board, so that the board was well aware of how the school district administration team is organized. And believe it or not, that takes us to lunch. Some kind of break in between. At lunchtime, both curriculum directors and the special programs administrator for behavior and counseling will join us, and they will be reviewing their extra special PowerPoint, which really talks about the school improvement plan for the school district. It's an item that you haven't seen and that we have actually presented on a number of times to COSA through several COSA events and through other events, and it's about time that we show this very illustrative document to the school board as presented by Maya, Lise, Katie, and Kelly. I think by the time we present that to you, you're going to have the best picture of what the school district is doing that you could hope for. And we'll give you a copy of that. We're going to read an article on board leadership and equity. We're going to review the spreadsheet for the centennial plans because this is a board event and we need all the board to be involved. And then you are going to be going over your very first chapter of a board book, which is Fearless Schools. We ask that you have chapter 1 read by August 18th, please. And we're going to use the last word protocol, very simple protocol that most of you have already been through. This is the book that all administration is reading right now. And according to our illustrious secondary director, the best book to come out of this organization. And it is building trust and resilience for learning, teaching, and reading. And I can't think of a better book for us to read as a board. And we're enjoying reading that as an administrative team. And I'm excited about that for our administration. So we wanted the board to read the same book the administrators were reading.
That's awesome.
Remember that we have basically 7 new administrators, 1 principal and 6 vice principals. A lot of people have been here before and they're either shifting around, coming back. We have a couple that are new. But you know, more about that in another time. Then we're going to have Liz and Peter share out on their Avid Summer Institute experience, whatever it is they would like to share. I think it's important that they attended that almost week-long institute and that they share about it, what their experience was. We'll briefly have a discussion on blue cards related to board agenda items. It's an item that the superintendent is bringing to the board. I would like the blue cards to have to relate to board agenda items because that's the way it is in school districts. It isn't willy-nilly, I get to come to the board with anything I want to talk about. That can be done in a public forum. That's not a board meeting. Board meetings are to discuss items that the board has on its agenda. And I'd really like to have a discussion about that and see what the board is thinking of. And we'll end with a closing reflection. And that'll take us probably to around 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Pretty robustly, but with time for discussion. It isn't going to be jammed down your throat. It'll be a timely discussion and pretty well-rounded. And then there are announcements at the end that we'll talk about. So in looking at this agenda, kind of looking at the flow of the agenda, we've timed it out for the appropriate amount of time that we have. If the board wants to say, yeah, you know, we really don't have time for that, but I want to spend more time on this, that's what you get to do. What are your thoughts?
I would like for us to talk more about the equity
Okay.
links and some of our experiences. There was when I'm talking about it,
Right.
it's important that we talk about it.
Well, I remember it took that particular, took more time last time, so I think it's probably a good idea.
Good. Yeah, you don't see any times here because we did that on purpose. It's really a matter of what the discussion is like. You could have a discussion item that's like, yeah, we're good with that. Let's keep going. And then there may be places where you linger. And we mix those up so that you didn't have all of the more complex issues altogether. Anybody else with a comment? Since Tila made her comment, anybody else have a comment about? Again, this has been reviewed with Chair Martin. She's made her suggestions. They've been incorporated.
Yeah, I like all of this. I like.
I'd like for us to spend a little time talking about goal number 1, the new number 1. Setting, demonstrating high expectations, especially in light of what we're going to hear from Katie and Miley's. Carol, is it? Kelly. Yep.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I've been thinking about is one of the key factors that drives learning is attendance. And I was looking at, I was recalling the growth in attendance percentages that we witnessed in the second semester over the first semester. And I was really pleased to see that. But
Still pretty bad.
still pretty bad.
Yeah, it's pretty
And-
bad.
And
It's
and we
just
understand
needs to change.
the constraints that are impacting that.
Yeah.
So I just would like to spend a little time talking
Good.
about that because
Sure.
I think it's really important. And
Well, you'll
Yeah,
have the
there's-
right people at the table
Yeah.
having
yeah,
Kelly, Kelly Boudry there because she's in charge of attendance.
Yeah.
So that would be
Yeah.
good.
and whatever
Yeah.
role the board can play.
Mm.
And encouraging student attendance.
Mm.
You know, I'd like to see us take
Sure.
a more visible role in that, I think, if that's.
If you
that's a-
can,
If that's an
yeah.
appropriate thing or. an
Yeah,
effective
I'm
thing.
not sure. It's really about student engagement.
Yeah.
And that's really up to us in the schools and.
Yeah.
There's we could go on and on this evening and I don't want to do it, but. There's reasons behind how that attendance did what it did, besides the initial pandemic, the initial time, but coming back, kids are. having a different opinion at school.
Right.
And what are we gonna
right.
do about it?
What are we gonna do about it?
Yeah, we talked
Yeah.
about that in Abbott.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great, let's do it.
So that's important.
Well, and it's your agenda, so if we get to the meeting and you want to change something, you can do that too. It's really your board agenda. I'm the facilitator and I try to come up with the right stuff, but you know, it may decide to go in its own direction. And that's the way it is. It can be organic and that's fine. It's up to you. Second to that, I just wanted to mention the centennial. I forgot to put that on my report. August 16th at 5:30 is our next meeting. We moved it from Thursday to Tuesday, just for the month of August. We have a monthly meeting. We have designs on banners, signs, t-shirts, jamboree, back to school, time capsules, family nights, a news time wrapper, ads, radio, and podcast. Those are things that we have in the works right now. So there's a whole spreadsheet on this that Eddie has created that we've shared with the Centennial Committee. Things are in the works. So we want to update the board and make sure that you know that the Centennial Committee is meeting on a monthly basis. And if you look at that spreadsheet, which we'll be showing you at the August retreat, you'll see kind of the breadth and depth of things that we're doing. We still need more representation from the South and we still need more representation from the North in our committee. So give that a think. We're still needing that. We have Toledo and Newport pretty well covered. We're just really wanting to make sure that this is a county-wide celebration. We'll certainly be doing it with all schools. That we're going to do anyway. We're going to have banners up and signs up and t-shirts and everything, and back to school nights and a big jamboree up at TAF 712 on the 26th of August, with people wearing t-shirts and all of that. We just want to try to involve the entire district in our celebration. It's quite a celebration and what a fun time to crow a little bit.
I want
So
to talk about somebody about it today and I can't even pronounce the word. The name of the.
yeah, just say 100 years.
Celebration.
Don't put it in writing.
Yeah. 100 years. Well, you're all getting t-shirts.
It's a bit embarrassing.
So at least the board can do is run around with t-shirts.
There you go. That's kind of early. I have to say.
That's it for my report. Thank you.
Okay. So we're on to the consent calendar. And the chair entertains a motion to approve the consent calendar item was listed in the August 9, 2024 folder. Do I have the motion? What was that? I'm sorry. We're doing consent calendar now.
Okay,
So
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve consent calendar by Megan and seconded by Mike Wells. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
So now we're on to Action items under business services, appropriations transfer, and Kim will give us an explanation. And a request.
So you have a copy of the resolution in your packet. Oregon budget law requires that we have appropriations in adequate amounts. We can't overspend them. It needs to be in place before we spend the funds. And we budgeted a $1,650,000 transfer from general fund into the building maintenance fund. Because the building maintenance fund has, it's used for just district facility and equipment repairs and upgrades. It's got no other source of revenue, and the fund has become depleted, as I showed you in the financials earlier. So in order to provide adequate funding for the building maintenance projects scheduled to be completed over the summer months, it's recommended that $1,650,000 of general fund resources be transferred immediately to the building maintenance fund. And I would like you all to vote on that tonight, please, so that we can have those funds transferred in advance of spending those.
Any questions from the board?
Oh, I would also mention that the resources in the ending fund balance are more than adequate to cover the this one transfer at this time.
Okay, great. Questions? So the acting chair will now entertain a motion to approve the appropriations transfer in the amount of $1,650,000 out of the general fund and into the building maintenance fund.
I so move.
One second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mike Rawls and second. All in favor? Say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Motion passes. Is that enough money, Rich?
I am spending it rather quickly, though.
Yes.
I'll think more over if I may.
Well, guys, in September, we're gonna go ahead and have a report from Rich. So we're
Good.
not gonna do that now because he's elbows into it. He's gotten really to go ahead on all of his projects and
I know.
really moving forward. I talked to Rich about a report in September on the September 13th meeting. He's gonna send out a rather detailed report. He is not gonna report on the report. He's gonna send it out to you so that you can read it before the meeting, and then his time will be spent answering questions.
Good.
So I think I'd rather allow that to happen kind of that way, if you don't mind. If you don't mind.
That's
Never mind. I was just curious.
Sure.
So we are now moving to items under discussion and information, and we'll start with training of us.
Yeah, we'll see.
New
So you're
board book.
You are getting new Chromebooks at your request with a larger screen because we're going digital. It was requested to have a screen that you could actually read on. So these are them. So you'll turn in your small older Chromebooks. These are set up to operate pretty much the same way. There's not a lot of difference other than your screen is larger. Your chargers from your old Chromebooks will work on these new Chromebooks, so go ahead and hang on to those, and I'll collect the old one here at the end. So your login should still be the same as your school district email, so if you can plug that in, we'll have you get started.
And I'm
in some
gonna
of that
break in
setup.
and say, if the audience would like to go at this time, you're welcome to go. This is a board training.
What?
Yeah.
Just like.
Yeah, no.
Besides not training.
I know that you like-
We give you $1 million, you'll make it go. How would that go?
That's like eating the dinner and running.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate your attendance.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim.
Thanks, everybody.
So as Dr. Gray mentioned, Sheila is what? Sheila's with us tonight because she's gonna also go through the training, because as you know, she's my backup. And so that's why she's there. So thank you, Sheila. Here are some instructions that we're gonna go over here in a moment, once we get the computer part logged in and taken care of. These instructions are specific to you for now. And for you, because you'll have your own login. So let's see if are we getting in okay? I've been the same one, it's been for you forever, right? How many times have you typed that?
I'll tell you what, I like the screen a lot better already.
Oh, good,
Woo-hoo.
very good. All right. You'll just open up your Chrome, yeah. Okay. And I'm gonna have a setup, so let's go to these little dotty guys there and find Gmail.
Eddie walked me through it the other day, and there's this one cool feature.
There's only one though, just one.
Just
Well,
Oh,
this one's
sorry.
really cool,
That's it.
and it's when you get into the meeting,
and I'm gonna
follow
follow that
it.
little plus right
And
there.
Eddie walks us through, and we go to right where we're supposed to be on the report. I think it's really.
We're gonna do this again. We're gonna go here and we're gonna open up calendar.
Right. I figured it's
Are
what
these
you
touch
had.
screen? No.
No.
They are.
They're not touchscreen, I was hoping.
Oh, well.
One can only hope.
That's all.
I don't
All right,
know.
so one last time, we're gonna go to that one.
Mhm.
One more plus. And for that one, if you would go to that website.
Okay. I presume you have to type it in, yeah.
Yeah.
HTTPS.
And then once you're into board book, so we're gonna have you go
I
to
see that.
this guy here.
Oh,
This
yeah.
little one over here.
And you can toggle it on and off, so you can.
Yeah.
Moving things around already.
And you see a little,
Oh, I'm gonna send email.
It's a little orange thing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You can make your own notes.
You'll have to show us how to do that.
I'm really.
The calendar, because that's my other favorite.
So have you got this yet?
Yeah.
Okay. So you.
Didn't use it on too.
That's highlighted there. So.
You can see my notes still on it.
And then here's your note, just you.
Just me.
Notes, says
Yeah.
notes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
I think it's gonna be real useful to us as we go from one
It
board
will,
meeting to the next.
and remember
We can
that,
get back to it really easily.
of course,
Yeah, a lot
he
easier.
he will be projecting this
Yeah.
agenda for the community.
You want to click the link
So
there?
they're not gonna get,
Just 1 second before I go there.
they're gonna be looking, and of course, you gotta be online.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't
But-
stop me.
And they can go.
And they could download a copy, of it, so can you, but
I
we're gonna
agree.
be projecting this during the
Yeah.
meeting.
That's the note feature is really important.
You said so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Now, my goal now is that ultimately, every time you get on your computer,
There's
this
my link.
computer, when you open up this
Yeah.
guy here,
And.
Noise.
the 3 tabs that you use the most are automatically done.
Pop it out.
So email,
Pop it down.
calendar, and this program.
And then you still get.
They
more
need it.
here.
I want to, when I want to unpop it.
Yep, just hit that.
It's probably fairly intuitive.
Yeah.
This.
Which I have not. But I'm hoping it is.
Are you a linear
Bunch of
thinker?
calendar bites for all those people needs for the whole. So like right here in this block.
What,
that's
do
where
anything? That's what it's me.
You really asked for that?
10 will go.
You
to 10
know
will go
that.
there.
It's really interesting, because I can be linear, but I prefer to
Or not,
really.
I've been
Right, any luck getting into that?
not getting up with anything. As you know, as you want to go in there and go on the ride and hear them play music.
All we can do is
No. When my
That was
rules
so
are-
much fun.
We better.
Here's
I
our
wish
goal.
I could.
The next,
I never
next
played.
one that we go to.
Yeah,
but I'm
gonna
That one's in April. We'll
You're gonna
have to
have-
see.
You're gonna have some fun.
I don't think so. I had fun.
No, I know.
I
you
had fun here. All right.
So,
Okay, makes sense to you.
Oh, wait.
Well,
Wait, chaos.
Everything that you're doing, you're gonna organize. You-
Every time you
You wouldn't like.
those tabs are.
Okay.
So now, when you come down here, those three most important tabs are gonna open
How do I get rid of this?
your email,
So.
your calendar,
Click on the next.
this new
agenda.
program.
Oh, I see.
Board book.
Board book
Yeah.
Premier.
Oh,
And
there you
here
go.
is your login information here. There's your user ID and your temporary password is this.
Oh, you want me
So
to
you
go
can
in
go ahead
and
and
log
get
in?
into it.
Oh, okay. Okay, now, on the other website. Scroll down. Something that says follow.
That's all.
Yeah, if we
Okay.
hit that, then Eddie will pace us through the meeting.
Yeah, that's the right way to do it.
He'll have everybody on the same page. at the
Well,
same
so
time.
that's the whole idea around board book meetings. He's in control
Yeah.
and we're following.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea.
But we can opt out of that feature and.
Sure, and then go play and go do your thing. But the thing is, it's really good to follow what you can.
Yeah, yeah. And
Once you
Okay,
are-
so what are we doing now, Eddie?
Once you're into board book, in the top left corner, you'll see your name. If
Yep.
you would click on your name.
Okay,
And once you do that, you should see something that says, manage your information.
Yep.
You go to that. And then as you scroll down in there, you're gonna find a small link that says change my password or reset my password, something to that effect. Scroll down. There's your username, change password. I would like you to set your password to what you want it to be, not the temporary password that was on your packet. I would recommend you set it to the same thing as all of your Google logins so that it's just uniform for you.
No.
It's all. Hang on, it's a different password.
I don't.
First.
oh, I have to use this.
You have to use the temporary password to get in, and you're gonna change it to what you were typing. All
I
right,
did tell you.
and it's
Yeah, I got it.
LCSD.
Eddie, why does mine want me to search my passwords? I don't want to do that. I don't want these saved ones either.
Just X out of
Yeah, I don't want that.
when you- Okay, so enter what you
Okay,
want.
now I can. I don't know why.
That's
it's
weird,
sitting
yeah.
over there.
I'm already done, right?
You're pretty close, so now we're going to log into this new program. So it's gonna be your same old.
So then, Mike, you just click in that green box.
To change it?
Yeah, no, that's, you
Yeah.
want to follow this meeting.
Yeah.
You click in
Can
there.
can I change the password? though?
Oh, right, yeah, he has to do that first.
Upper left hand, once you're logged in, you'll see your name in the upper left hand corner.
Thank you.
Click on that and it'll say manage my information.
Okay, change.
Okay, okay. Then you just save it forever. Okay. Got it.
Does this mean you don't mail us the agenda anymore?
No,
Good, I get it. pretty
Board book,
regularly the day.
paperless. paperless.
Yeah.
I might have got it today, but I left before
That's,
the mail came.
Paperless.
Does he have to scroll down?
Did
to the
you
bottom?
send something today?
yeah, if you scroll down a way.
Was there something in the mail today?
It was sent to the page here if you want.
Right.
Okay, I use two fingers, makes it scroll, change password.
Temporary.
I love this. This is so awesome.
And this is where you'll put in
I think
the
we're.
password you want, and maybe the same as your Google
Absolutely.
stuff is.
And
Yeah,
so
I'm
is
going
he,
to.
so that he's not spending a
Right.
week getting these things ready.
Right, and it's,
This is so much easier.
Eddie was
according
telling
to
me.
the assistant.
yeah, that someone like Kim who's gonna
Yeah.
input, which
Yeah.
we get the So budget
Yeah.
information, that's gonna be really useful to have ahead of time.
Okay, let's see.
Well, yes, but you're gonna change that. So actually, we can actually just click, go ahead and click
Yes.
save, but we're gonna change it. So now we're gonna click on your name. We're gonna go manage your information. And scroll down towards the bottom.
Okay, now the green box you say?
There.
Yeah, but you're jumping ahead, so.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
that's-
So good at it.
That's a good sign, isn't it?
Okay, now you can set this to like the same as your Google
Love it.
password is, and you'll have to put it in twice. Okay, so then, once you're logged on there, to access, and these step-by-step instructions will go through kind of what I'm going through too, but to access the most current meeting or a meeting that you choose to go back and look at something from, you'll see that that information is in the upper left-hand corner where it says meetings and agendas.
Right.
It's an entire link. That whole heading is a link. So you would click on it. The August 9th meeting that you see there is an exact replica of what we just went through tonight, just for some context. So we double did this one. And once you click that, it's going to give a little drop-down menu.
Right.
I would recommend just click that view meeting details, join meeting, it says. And that's going to take you into the meeting.
There you go.
All right.
Can we take
And-
notes? We can take notes, can't we?
You can take your own private notes. The instructions are in that packet there. They just are for you and you only. They're not shareable, but they are for you to go back if there's something you wanted to go back and look at.
Me too.
So
I did ask
Super.
you.
It saves my handshake hands.
it does not appear so. I did look into that.
Okay.
Yeah, I cannot find
And
anything where we
open
can
up
share.
Messenger.
Now I can just
chat
get this
back and
thing.
forth.
All right, and then from there, you're kind of on that very first. You can just hit save. All right, then we're gonna click save on that. Okay, now if you click on this one in green, that's the meeting we just held tonight. That's this packet here. They're just identical. And if you go view meeting details, join meeting. This is what the meeting will look like when we're going through it like we just did tonight. On that, and then, like I said, the instructions are there, but the most useful tool for right now is up at the top, kind of left-hand corner up there is a little button called follow. If you turn follow on, or you switch that on, when I run the meeting from my computer and I move from screen to screen, agenda item to agenda item, it's going to automatically move yours so you can just watch. At any time that you want to stop following because you want to look at something or you want to go back, something like that, you would just click unfollow. Okay, so that'll be pretty easy. And the land acknowledgement is the first thing that's there and it will always be there and there will always be that attachment. So when the chair says, you know, does somebody want to read the land acknowledgement? You can see that that is attached right there on that agenda item. And you can go ahead and click on that land acknowledgement attachment. It's going to open up. The one downside that we, Peter and I both found was that it's incredibly small when you open it. The instructions are in here, like I said, but at the top of that screen where it opens, you'll see a little plus and minus sign. That's how you can zoom in on it. So if you're the one that decides to volunteer to read that, you can zoom in on it, make it a little bigger and easier to understand. That goes for all the attachments. They automatically open to that smaller size, so you'll just have to zoom in on them.
But you can set your user preferences.
Oh, maybe. I haven't done that much.
So you can set your user preferences to start from small screen and
Oh.
to fit page. Let's see what that looks like when I do it that way.
See, you're talking to a pro here, so she's.
Figure
it out.
She teaches online. So like,
So it opens up to full
No,
screen,
it just
gotcha.
goes, yeah, it just goes up to full screen. It's still little-ish, but you can.
So that's how you'll open up the attachments. If you're not following and you're flying solo there, as the chair moves through the meeting and you know that we're on to the financial report, all the agenda items are attached over there on the left. The one thing that'll be a little different, well, one of many things that are a little different than the traditional board packet is, you know, on our agendas in the board packet, we list, so like it might be action items, and then we list every section an action item could go under, such as teaching and learning, human resources, business office. If there is not an item in that section, it will not show on your agenda. That makes sense?
That's great.
Yeah, so the agenda won't look
That's good
super
one.
long if there's not
Yeah.
stuff in there.
Right.
So it will, the
Good.
agenda items on the left are all, yeah, that's exactly it. No more placeholders.
What happens with the separate cover?
Separate cover I need to play around with. So what I've understood when we do.
You guys know what I mean by that? When we send things to the board that does not go, well, even in regular session, we have, March 15th, we have all of our personnel issues go under separate cover. They do not go into the board packet.
So there is a way.
They go to you.
Yeah, there is a way, and I've not played with it very much, but I did get started when I upload an attachment. I set the rights to that attachment, like who gets to see it. And I have the ability to set it so that only the board members can see it, but the public, when it's up on the public screen or on the public website, cannot.
Okay.
Because that's separate cover. That would be for your eyes only. So that is
We have
possible.
several things like that.
Yeah,
mostly
And
personnel.
when I do put those in there, I'll try to label that very clearly that it's a separate cover item so that you know that you're seeing it and others are not. So that is kind of the meeting, as far as viewing the attachments is where we left. Then as Mike started to mention, that you do have the ability to take notes of your own things you might want to look at. That's the little yellow square in the top right corner, is how you would just take those notes of your own when you're on an agenda item. So you're done with attachment. So you're looking at the attachment, go back to the agenda item or click on it just over here because it's there. That yellow pad right there
Highlight on
is
documents, right?
notes. You would just add a note. You might say, I don't like whatever it is, and that will should remind you to look at. But
And
it's
you
only
open
yours.
up a bunch of different colors.
Only yours. So if you say naughty things,
Oh, that's
only you
fine.
see it.
It's still public records law.
That's right. That is public record still. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So. Can't say.
Yeah.
I wish Peter Lindsay would just shut.
no, not
And I
exactly.
want all your records, on your computer,
Yeah.
of everything you ever said about Peter.
So that's the taking the notes section. And
Be careful.
the only other thing that I wanted to really show or point out to you was how if you really like a traditional packet style, if that's easier for you to view, you're welcome to print that. I'm not mailing those anymore, and the public won't. They won't be out on the public table because they will be displayed in the room and of course accessible on the website. So, but if it's easier for you and you choose to either print or you just like the format of looking at the packet on your computer, there's the instructions to do that. So while you're in the meeting, in the top left corner, it says tools. You're going to click on tools. And then it's going to say reports, and you want what's called an agenda report. And that should open a little side wedge on
Yes.
the side of the screen.
It does. Yeah, it goes tools, reports, agenda reports, agenda report.
Then tools. Reports. Agenda reports, the very first one. That opens that side, or it may open a whole new screen for you. Some is on the side, sometimes.
So if I want to print it out, because I have to read it so many times. so I'm gonna-
Yeah, so you're on the right track. Then you're gonna click that blue icon on the top right that says download agenda and attachments. And once you click on that, that's when the side widget or the side window comes into play. I would leave the template alone at the top. Just simply because the template it's set to should be the easiest for us to understand because it's what we're used to using. But the one that you can change is include attached PDFs. I would recommend for the board, after going back and forth and studying on this. If you click on that drop-down menu, I would say, choose the option that says yes after the entire agenda. Excuse me, yes after each agenda item. Because if this is how you choose to view the meeting as it's happening, you're going to want to see the attachments in the appropriate section. And then leave all the other settings the same. That's the only thing you should change is yes after each agenda item.
It says it right there.
And then you'll see something that says download in there. After you click that, you should see it. They often show up in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen when you download.
Right.
And yep. So I can, click that. And it's gonna think for a second because the packets can be large. It can take some time, and then let's go.
Two reports. Down one.
Oh, there it is. Then you could, then you could click and print and do what you want. But as you scroll through there, you'll see the entire agenda in paper form. There's the agenda. There's the land acknowledgement that we read tonight. It'll be very similar. There's the first student report.
Oh,
That kind of thing.
This will be available, you'll have it in the system, I presume, before the board meeting each time, so we
It's
can
a-
look at the agenda.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, so much work.
I'm gonna try.
And when I change something, like walking about it, oh, Andrea,
It's gonna be.
She went-
easy.
okay, what else? Without having to go through.
Yeah.
Probably packet, honestly.
So this little instruction sheet just is like the nitty gritty, how to follow along. I really would recommend that you just kind of play around with it. Especially using this August 9th agenda that we just went through tonight. And just tinker with it because you know how the meeting went tonight. So it should make sense to be able to play with this agenda.
Then
item.
eventually, is there a log off?
Yeah, so if you click up there, I think on your name in the upper left corner, if you choose to log out, this is your device. So if you're comfortable leaving it, that's up to you, but
So then I can actually add this tab to my stuff.
yes.
Oh, yeah, I just added it to my report.
Yes, of course, you're multiple tabs.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You have more than that.
Tabs up right now. Yeah.
All right.
Look at my desktop. So bad.
Any idea how I can get in here? and
Close everything
load
before
this
it
puppy in?
Oh, my gosh.
Most days.
Oh, my gosh. Megan,
I'm pathetic.
I'm
Well,
not
because
familiar.
like,
Pathetic.
the headshot shouldn't hit-
Well, it makes sense, right? It's like making the bed.
Yes.
You're done
I
with
make
that?
my bed every day, like Jordan Peterson says.
You're supposed to do that.
Yes, every day. The first thing you do, your feet hit the floor and you make your bed.
Something is wrong.
Yeah, you're a good person.
See,
That's how you know you're. a
I
good
have,
person.
That's how
I have, I want my back, so I can get on, same for Billy Joe, and then it's all ready for us to enter the bed.
You talk about me.
There's no way to get into the.
You figure out how to get in and out of bed.
The system.
I'm
See, I'm
just
looking-
joking.
Not me. No, you're not.
Are you a cat person?
But
She
now I
is.
am,
Oh.
now I am, after my dog died, I put two kids on last year. I'm cooking for every day.
Guys, the more we practice with this, the more you practice, this is so intuitive, Eddie. Eddie, this is really intuitive.
It is super intuitive and that's why, yeah, just play with it and make it what you wish.
Yeah.
One of the things that Eddie and I talked about is, let's say, there was a previous meeting that you wanted to reference, you just open that up in another tab. And then you can navigate. through
Oh, my gosh.
things and-
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
So if you look on the back wall of my mom, I, cleaned out last year's.
We have.
Except that I have a
With these
stack
things where I can
that
do
much
stuff.
of my
I wanna find the house.
from
July.
July of that
Yeah,
year, and I can't bear to.
to.
So I'm saving,
yeah,
and so
I
they
understand,
are going
I
to
understand.
stay because all my notes are in those
Right,
packets.
right, well.
And I don't
you'll have-
trust,
You'll have the note there.
but now I'll have my notes. But right now, I've got, it's on the back wall.
Yeah.
I will ask
No, I have found.
and find out. Okay.
All right, guys.
It's gonna make it.
Thank you, Eddie.
Yeah, that's board book in a nutshell. So
And guys, like Peter went in and took an extra lesson.
yeah,
which is a great idea to do. I'll
It's
probably-
cheating.
It's true.
What did
I am
you
a-
say?
I'm a
Cheating.
big
It's
cheater.
cheating.
Listen, I'll have you know, I'll admit it in front of everyone, I cheat.
How do you
at
rate?
Wordle Whenever I need to.
Yeah, okay, well,
It's not cheating.
I'll never pay you, I'll never play you then, solves that problem.
But guys, anybody can have a lesson with Eddie on board book.
Yeah, I definitely encourage you to set up a time to come sit next to me and we'll go through this stuff and look at it.
I just want to get this result.
Just
Oh, well, there you go.
And touch
No,
base.
listen, I figured out, I don't like touch base. It's kind of good, it's this.
All right,
We'll have to do
All
that.
right, you ready for me to go?
I think so.
All right, just some reminders.
Reminders, guys.
Our board retreat is the 18th.
Yes.
Mike gave me a call, wanted to make sure you got that on his calendar.
Where are we going?
It's at the
Best
Best
Western.
Western.
Yeah, we won't be back.
Where
we
you
won't
play
be
the
back
ukulele,
tomorrow.
bring your uke.
Is it the same room by any chance downstairs?
It is.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Okay,
good.
good. So, opening day of school, Tuesday, September 6th.
And you're gonna give me.
Schedule your visits with Eddie.
Yes, please.
Okay.
And try to be out in the buildings if you can. It'd be great to
Definitely.
See you.
Definitely.
Go to two of them.
See you. It would be great.
Grade school.
Who's gonna be Mexico? I'm gonna be gone the whole.
So I'll do your point.
Oh, in November.
Kids.
What?
That's exciting.
Finally, they open up, just for the stomach to go home. And I don't know if I'm.
So, final,
So final one.
final reminder, September board meeting, and TAP, September 13th, 6:30. Will we have an executive session?
Not that I know of.
Okay, it's possible, but probably not.
It's always possible. no problem.
And
Unless I have some big update on it, which I can email you about.
so,
It's gonna be a
any
big one.
good for the order items, anybody?
Thank you so
Don't
much.
do it.
It's good to be with you.
Yeah. That point.
Dang it.
You gotta do it.
No, he doesn't.
No, we can't be unless you do it.
Yeah.